Hello and welcome. Before we start to unveil what we're going to show you today, I think it's important you know a little bit about us and myself. Around 24 years ago, there was a team from the University of Michigan that raced across the US and stood first in a solar car team. They then raced across Australia, a distance of about 3,200 kilometers, purely running on sun energy. They came third in the world, right behind big makers like Honda. I was one of those fortunate people who were part of this team that actually changed the way I think of mobility. From someone who was always passionate about cars, the fact that you could run on electric cars and on solar energy across a continent was an eye-opener for me. Mahindra Reva had its beginnings in this area. The idea to create a game shift in electric mobility, the idea to enable people to make their own energy and use it using technologies like sun to car, to make a difference in how we think of mobility would be going. You know, I've always been passionate about cars and speed. Combining that with electric made things look very different. You know, electrics have a lot of oomph, a lot of torque as soon as you press the throttle pedal, and gives you a different perception of speed. The mobility space is also changing. People who today are doing electric cars are coming from different spaces. The best electric cars and the fastest ones are coming from Silicon Valley. A lot of you guys know companies like Tesla. Mahindra Reva, that way, is very different. For 15 years, we've been doing electric cars. It's in our DNA to make them quicker, faster, and more powerful. And today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Halo and how we came about it. Driving's been always about fun. How can you have fun in cities while you're driving? How can you out-accelerate others off a traffic light? How could you have fun when you brake, in your handling? How could you have fun maneuvering in and out of traffic? Well, the idea of the Halo was that can we have a lot of fun while driving in city traffic? The acceleration and performance comes on electrics, which are very, very nice and different from gasoline-powered cars. The second area was, can I while having fun, be also entertained? And today it's the instant generation. So we've given you a set of connectivity in the car that allows this space of time of a couple of hours a day to be a lot more fun or entertaining, whatever you choose. But you know, with all of that, also an important part is having some style and making a statement. The Halo was looked at around with that. Can it be something that looks cool to be in? Can it look something that looks like fun, that looks like it's quick and get in and out? And we thought of that as an important aspect as we looked at styling. I want to now introduce you to some of the men behind the styling that you see around here. Giridhar Kata is our head of design studio at Mahindra Reva. And I have Hubert Tassin, who's the chief designer on the Halo product that you're going to see. So Hubert, what was your inspiration when you looked at the design and the thought process around Halo?
For me, I've always been in love with the Italian sports cars of the 70s, because at this time in the US, to make a sports car, they would make an enormous vehicle with an enormous engine and an incredible horsepower. But in Italy, no, in Italy, they would work on the aerodynamic, the dimension of the car and its weight, a lightweight vehicle that is really easy to handle. And this is basically what brings you emotion. And so that's what I love about our cars, that it's extremely tiny, with a really good stance, and I'm sure the handling will be incredible. The first thing I wanted, as it has to be easy to handle in the city, we knew from the beginning it would be an extremely small car. But small for me does not mean that it can't be dynamic. So the first thing was to make a dynamic vehicle. The second thing, to make it modern, when you see how many vehicles are running around the streets today, usually you see a quantity of details and lines and everything that, after some time gives you the nausea, at least to me. And so what I wanted, when I look at the new and fresh product design, if I take the new tablets, the new phones, they are neat, they are simple. So my first goal was definitely to make a neat and dynamic vehicle.
When cars are short, aerodynamics are always a challenge to make it really efficient and literally get that wish when you drive, right? So what did you do to balance styling and aerodynamics? Is there any feature in the car that's very differentiating when it comes to anything else that you see out there?
thing, yes, it was really difficult because the shorter the car, the more difficult it is to have a good aerodynamic result. What we had to do, okay, there are two main elements. The first thing is that the front, the surfaces on the front had to be extremely neat. That's why we don't have enormous holes. We don't have pieces coming out and in. We kept a simple surface and we tried to make it as round as possible so that the air can flow more naturally. The second thing is that just after the head, because of course somebody has to sit inside, we have to cover the head. We just digged down straight towards the rear so that again the air can escape as clean as possible, and that in 1 year, and I think 11 different models that we sent to the aerodynamic testing, we did bring the CD down of 0.09, what is a really, really good start. Then I'm not giving up on making it even better, and when it will be finished, we'll tell you the numbers.
Tell me one of your favorite parts of the design.
Chetan, one of the most favorite parts of my design in this car is the interior. It is so ergonomic to get in and get out, yet it is such a tiny car that we have. The second most important thing is the way we have improved the attention span for the drivers on the road. There is a multimodal input where you are empowered to control the entire interface without having a look at any of these components that you have within. It's so much easier to control the interface. You have steering mode controls, you have console controls, and you have touchscreen and voice-enabled controls. This will completely empower you to reduce the attention span that you usually do in most cars.
So while you've heard a lot about the styling, the part that excites me a lot is about really having good fun, and that's about having programmable performance. It's like your laptop or your smartphone where you can adjust everything. Now imagine adjusting your 0 to 100 time. Imagine adjusting how long you can get boost mode. Imagine adjusting the kind of acceleration profile you would like or the speed side you would like to go. Imagine adjusting the kind of G-force you would like to experience. All of this can be electronically adjusted. To me, that's about upgradability. It's about how futures of electric cars are going to be, because they're all controlled by computers and a lot easier to adjust than mechanical components. And that's going to bring about a new way of programmable performances.